Hello, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. I'm Carly, and today I'm going to talk about bright line eating and how it's been 8 years since I first started doing that. I can't believe it. Today is not exactly the day, but it was June 12th, 2017. I'll always remember it when I started the 14-day program. It wasn't the full-on boot camp. It was less expensive. I think it was like $29 or something like that for 14 days of videos, guided videos with Susan. And it all started with the book. So I read the whole book. It took me about like a month and a half to read the book because I'm not a big reader. I like to use Audible, but sitting down and reading books is not something I do well. But I remember it well. It was 2017. I had been married for about 2 years by then, and some weight had crept on that I wasn't very happy about. I had just turned 40 that year as well. So things were starting to change in my body, I'm sure hormonally, that I wasn't even aware of yet. But now 8 years later, I'm very aware of hormonal changes, trust me, every day. And so bright line eating came to me at a time in my life when I really needed it. Some things had started to shift that year anyway, because I have had Hashimoto's. I'm going to go into a little bit of a side story now, so you can skip ahead if you're not interested in this part. But I've had Hashimoto's almost my whole adult life. When I was 14, our family doctor diagnosed me with hypothyroidism. I have no idea what my lab levels were because I was 14 and I just trusted doctors and my parents to take care of me. So I started treatment for Hashimoto's with Synthroid. And I'm really not sure if it helped that much, or I'm not sure if I don't know. I don't know what was going on with me, but I definitely did not feel good at the time. I was getting a lot of illnesses, a lot of like sore throats and colds. So I definitely think something was going on with me, but I just wonder, did they check my vitamin D levels? Did they check my B12? Did they check my iron? You know, it could have been a lot of things too. So I don't know if I needed to be treated, but here I am. And now my whole immediate family is treated for hypothyroidism, and I know for sure that my sister has Hashimoto's. My parents, I'm pretty sure, have it too. And it could be a symptom of where we lived. We lived in the country surrounded by farmland, which I'm sure they use pesticides on, and we drank from a well. The well water was purified with a reverse osmosis system, but I mean, who knows? I don't know what was going on. All that to say, my journey with health struggles really began in my teens, and it started with a disease that I couldn't control at the time. I didn't know how to get it into remission when I was 14, when it was the 80s. Or 90s, I guess it would have been. I didn't know enough. I wasn't informed like I am today about Hashimoto's. So my whole life I did struggle a little bit with carrying more weight than I would have liked, and having it be more difficult for me to maintain a healthy weight than for someone who doesn't have autoimmune disease or thyroid issues. And I'm not saying this to be like, oh, you know, poor me. Say it's a fact. The thyroid controls everything in your body. Your hypothalamus connects to it, and your metabolism and your temperature regulation. So I wanted to give you a little backstory of why bright line eating was useful for me. Not only did I have autoimmune disease and struggled with, you know, just maintaining health in general and a good weight and feeling good in my joints, all of that kind of thing. I struggled with eating. I struggled with craving sugar. I grew up in a household that was, I would say, healthier than most or healthier than some. My mother was very conscientious. However, there were, you know, baked goods, cookies, flour products available They might have been homemade and not, you know, Pop-Tarts or Chips Ahoy, but they were available. Once I was on my own, there was nobody to tell me what to eat and what not to eat. So, I mean, I use common sense for the most part, but when you're in your 20s, you can get away with a little bit more than you can in your 30s and 40s. So I don't think my eating was that great when I was in my 20s. I'm sure I still ate lots of pasta and bread and pudding and sugary things, and probably not the best thing for me. Now I know better. Now I'm informed. Now I feel like I'm forced to eat really clean and healthy. Otherwise, things will go very sideways very fast for me. And I can't, I mean, I look at people my own age who are thin and can eat that stuff that I ate when I was 22, and I'm just amazed that they aren't falling apart and having joint pain and gaining weight. And I mean, do they know how lucky they are right now? I don't know how they're going to be in 40 years, but right now they're pretty lucky that they can get away with that. So Bright Line Eating came to me at a time when I really needed it. I was looking for something, a program that would be a for lifer program, you know, something that I could change my way of nutrition and lifestyle and stick to it. And actually, you know, I can't believe I'm saying this, but this was it. So all the science behind this, I fully am engaged in. I do think that this has changed the wiring of my brain. Another huge change that I made in 2017 was after I watched a thyroid documentary by Isabella Wentz. I learned that gluten was probably not a good thing for me to incorporate into my diet. So I decided to eliminate gluten, and wasn't excited about it, but I knew that I was probably making a wise choice for my future self, my thyroid health. I wanted to see my antibodies go down. I wanted to not have to increase my thyroid dosage because it was already creeping up, I felt like, as I got into those upper 30s and 40 years old. I felt like my thyroid dosage was gonna have to keep increasing, and, you know, putting on like a pound a year, that kind of stuff. I didn't want to keep that trend going. If you go back and look at my vlogs that I did when I started Bright Line Eating, which I did because I thought, you know, this is kind of a big life change. Maybe I want to document this. Maybe I want to make like a video diary. So I did it. I have always made exceptions to the rule for myself. I am a rule breaker, I have to admit, and I've always loved dark chocolate. I've learned that it's somewhat good for you with the antioxidants and all that kind of stuff. But even in my 20s, I got into like nice luxury chocolate over 72% cacao. I couldn't imagine living my whole rest of my life without any chocolate. I just love chocolate. I'm a chocoholic. I love it. And I especially love dark chocolate. That is something that since day one, I have made an exception to. Take it or leave it. That's just how I do it. There are other exceptions I built in now over the years. I did do it pretty to the letter for the first 6 months, Bright Line Eating, because that's when I was losing weight and seeing results, and I was really excited about that. I wanted to see results more than anything, and I was very dedicated. You know how when you start a new program, you're very excited about it. So I did no snacking, in between meals for those first months, all the things, except for the chocolate. I would have a little piece of dark chocolate. So now, over the years, we've lived through some rough things, especially when I went through tough life stuff. When we had to make the move from another state, that was rough on me, and things kind of started to fall apart there a little bit. Maintained still a pretty solid Bright Line way of eating, but it's hard when you're in a big life change like that, like a move from one state to another state and uprooting your whole life. And after we arrived here to this different state, I I tried to settle in, I tried to restart again, you know. I'm pretty sure I have videos about that, like wanting to really restart bright line eating, yay. Like by the time we moved like in June, and by the time fall came, I was like settled and ready to go again. And it just never really clicked back into place for me. So at that point, I guess I was 42. Also seeing body changes with, I think I had started to see some perimenopausal symptoms. And then we have the pandemic that happened, and my son got sick, really sick. It was very scary for months and months. So that was a lot of trauma. It gave me a lot of anxiety. After he was better and we were just in the thick of the pandemic and staying home, I was so joyous that things were okay with my family, but stressed out that things weren't okay with the world, that I started to eat some bad things again. I started to eat no gluten still, and I don't know, I don't think I really drank very much anytime. I never really drank that much alcohol, but I stuck to no gluten through this whole time. There's a lot of things you can have that are gluten-free that are still not good for you, like Cheetos, like gluten-free brownies. So, I mean, occasionally I would treat myself to these things in those stressful moments in the pandemic when we were in, you know, when we were home and we didn't go anywhere and we weren't around other people. Through those times, I slipped off the rails a little bit. And over the years, I kind of was like, well, you know, there's no excuse. You don't have to eat this stuff. And then I started to hear about seed oils and how they're bad for you. So when there's science that comes out, I'm all over it. And if it's not going to be good for me in the long run, I will adapt to that change. I've now started to make changes in the way I eat and my lifestyle that are more in line with the current science we have. Like, I don't do so much cardio, but I definitely do weightlifting, heavy weightlifting, as heavy as I can and without injury, right? And I try not to snack between meals, but I'll get to that more. I try to eat high protein because I want to build muscle, I want to lose fat, build muscle, and I want to have longevity. I want to be able to be strong. These are all challenges that I know I'm going to face in my life because of my autoimmune disease, because I've seen both my parents have joint replacement surgeries, and I already have issues with some of my joints. And I obviously have issues with weight and keeping weight off. And I have another issue, which I think I haven't been formally diagnosed, but I think that I might have lipodema in my legs and potentially in my arms. I'm not sure. But that is where you have, it's like a different kind of fat, the fat that you don't lose easily, and it makes your legs bigger than the rest of you. So that's another health challenge that I'm dealing with. I'll just talk about the exceptions that I've made now to bright line eating after 8 years. Here's where I'm at now. For about 2 years now, I've been having a protein shake for breakfast in the morning. I use very clean protein powder. I use the Equip beef isolate. It has no whey, no fillers or anything like that. It's just 3 ingredients. And then I have like 1 hard-boiled egg, and I have 1 cup of half calf coffee, which I get locally at a coffee roaster. So it's like the highest quality coffee I can get. And then I may or may not have a piece of this, like the breads that I make, or I may or may not have a piece of the gluten-free sourdough bread that I buy at Whole Foods for like $11.99. It's crazy. But just like 1 slice, maybe twice a week I'll do that, and put natural peanut butter on. So that's the exception to my breakfast. It's not oatmeal. It's mostly, I'm trying to get the high protein in. And then my lunch is pretty much bright line eating lunch. My dinner is a bright line eating dinner. And in between there, I do have a snack. I don't know if this is hurting me. I don't know if it's harming me or not, but I have started to have a protein bar and grass-fed beef stick in the afternoon between lunch and dinner. So I do have that exception. Just trying to get more protein in, and I do tend to get like almost hypoglycemic between lunch and dinner. And then after dinner, I will have a piece of dark chocolate, or I will have one of the Unreal coconut dark chocolate bars. I have tried berberine. I have tried myoinositol. I've tried those supplements for regulating my blood sugar and maybe potentially helping me reduce inflammation, reduce some, shed some pounds. But honestly, for the past 2 years, I'd say, I've held on to this weight that I'm not comfortable with it. So I don't know if it's going to slowly go away as I, try to reduce my stress and make these life changes and all that, and get my hormones balanced, because I am in a state now where I'm sure my hormones are all over, even though I'm on progesterone, but I'm sure my estrogen is probably all over because I'm still in perimenopause. So I'm in a place where I'm really, even just to lose 5 pounds would be great. It's really plateaued, even despite making all these very clean life changes. My eating is so clean, like just very vegetables, meat-based with avocado and maybe a few nuts. It's bright line eating, but with high protein. So it's one of the best, I eat the best of pretty much everyone I know. And I have no dairy now because I think it gives me inflammation. And I haven't drank alcohol in like 3 or 4 years. It just doesn't appeal to me. It makes me feel really bad the next day. My body doesn't rid it like it used to. It doesn't get rid of the toxins. So alcohol is just no fun. So I'm eating extremely, extremely low sugar, high protein, clean, mostly things you could have gotten from the ground and animals, and organic as much as I can. And yet I still have I feel like inflammatory fat that I can't get rid of. So that brings me to the next topic, which is all these GLP-1 agonists that people are on. And do I want to do that? Do I think I need it? I would say probably not, according to my weight. I'm not in the BMI that would say you need that, but I've been learning more about microdosing, and I'm very interested. To say the least, I'm interested. Now, I haven't done anything with it. I'm just researching it. And I think there's going to be more research coming out in the future about using it in smaller doses than what they're prescribing for perimenopause, for autoimmune disease. I mean, that's mainly the reason I'm interested in it, is because I feel like there's things with my autoimmune disease that I just can't tamp down or control. So I'm interested in it, but I just don't know if I can find anyone that will dose it appropriately, like in minute doses. I'm talking like a 10th or a 5th of the starting dose of what people who want to lose weight take it at. I don't want to lose a lot of weight. 10 pounds would be great, according to my in-body scan test, which is the test that tells you how much fat and bone and muscle you have. It says I could lose like 17 pounds of fat. I shouldn't lose any muscle, but I should lose like 17 pounds of fat. That would make me look pretty skinny, I think. I mean, that's okay. I've been that weight before, and I was younger then. Didn't have the hormonal upheaval that I have now, and we hadn't been through a pandemic then. So, I'm just trying to get back to like my fighting weight and get rid of the inflammation that I feel like won't go away. And a lot of the weight is in my legs, like I said, so that's why I kind of feel like I might have lipedema as well. So I feel like I've controlled it by my lifestyle with my way of eating and exercising and weightlifting and all that. I walk too every day, a lot of walking, but the fat on my legs just won't budge. So I think there's something to that. So that is where I'm at right now with bright line eating. I'm sticking to it. It's gonna be it's going to be something that I will incorporate, I think, the rest of my life. I love that I eat a lot of vegetables. I feel like it's great because it's fiber. I don't think hardly anyone else does that. Do you know people around you that eat 2 pounds of vegetables a day? I mean, yeah. And that don't eat flour and sugar. I mean, yeah. I was just at a party and it was very hard to get enough healthy food to eat. And this was like a nice restaurant that used locally I mean, it's like the most California style restaurant we have around here that uses more healthy ingredients, but still, I couldn't get enough vegetables and it wasn't that great. There was a lot of starch and flour that I couldn't eat. So I went home hungry. And then when I got home, I had some cauliflower, broccoli, and coconut oil to fill up. I had to cut that off there. The video was getting really long. But please tell me if any of you have tried like microdosing semaglutide or tirzepatide or any of that. I am really curious. I'm not going to do it right now, but like I said, it's something that I'm curious about. I'm going to try to be patient and give my body time to regulate itself, and maybe maybe this inositol or berberine will help, and it just takes longer than a couple months. So I'm just going to see what plays out. But I am curious to see if it helps with inflammation and autoimmune disease. So if anyone has that and has used really teeny doses of semaglutide, I'd be curious to know. Anyway, I'm just so grateful, still so thankful that I found Bright Line Eating, that Susan Pierce Thompson created it. I'm thankful for this community and what we have, the knowledge that we have, the way we've been able to change our lives and be more empowered and give more to the world because of this. So I just hope and pray that for all of us. And I'm so thankful for you being here today and watching. Please share any thoughts you have, or share what your journey has been like with Bright Line Eating. I would love to know. Yeah, we're a whole community. So I hope y'all are doing well, and please join me next time. All right, bye.